Oh, right, okay, we're going to have a look now at the prelim matter and how this goes into our ebook. What sort of things do we have to take account of? Okay, so here I have on the screen my Greek island recipes book. Now you can see first of all that this is my title page. This particular document within the book, I've just simply got it called prelims, as you can see, and this prelims document, InDesign document, only has 2 pages. It has a copyright page and a title page. The other thing to point out, as you can see here, is that I've actually used some similar typography in the title page to that that's on my cover. You'll find that this is quite a common way of working in book design, is that the cover, obviously we can't reproduce the cover entirely in the title page, but we can take some of the attributes of it. This, for example, is my cover for my book, and there is the title page. Okay, now when we export the reflowable ebook, we have to take account of the fact that this, if we were to put this onto the page, as we see it here, the person reading the book can effectively increase the font size, thus possibly breaking this layout. In fact, you'll see that I've got a text box with the title of the book and the author, and then I've got the publisher logo down at the bottom right hand corner. Now actually what I really want to do is to guarantee, or to try to guarantee at least, that my title page appears exactly like this. So what I'm going to do is to group these things together. So I select the first object, and then with the Shift key select the second object. I've now selected those two things together, and I'm going to go to Object, and that's not quite working. Let's just do that again. There we are, I selected the wrong thing. Okay, so now if we go back to Object and group those two things together, you'll now see that I have a dotted line around here. Like that. And this object now, we have to, again, do certain things to this to make sure that it exports properly. So having selected the whole group, I now go to Object and Object Export Options. Now in here, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to select a type, an EPUB type. So out of my selections here, I'm going to the title, and I'm going to the full title. So this is a full title page. I'm also going to rasterize the container. That is to say that the whole object is going to be made into a graphic. What kind of graphic do I want? Well, I'm going to turn it into a PNG file, because actually I want it to be transparent. So in other words, not white, but just simply transparent against the colour of the background, which is in this case white. I'll explain something about that a little bit later. Okay, let's go for a high resolution. We're going to customize the layout. So we're going to take this image as it's going to become, and we're going to make sure that it is centered. So I'm selecting that central align center one there. I'm going to insert a page break after the image, so that what actually is going to happen is that we're going to then move on straight on to the copyright page. Now, in terms of the size, what I'm going to do with the size, I'm going to say actually I want the width of this to be 100%, because I want it to be as large as possible that will fit onto whatever device is being used at this point. We also, just before we leave, go to the Alt tag, and from the in the custom panel, I'm just going to be writing in here Greek island recipes title page. Okay, so that's that done. Now before we export, we're now going to look at the next page and just explain a little bit about this. Now this is our copyright page, and again, this should appear just as we see it here, and because we're dividing this up into separate documents. The introduction is going to follow this copyright page, and because it is a separate file, it means that what's going to happen is that we're going to get a separate HTML document inside the EPUB, thus guaranteeing that that introduction will start on a new page. Okay, let's just have a quick look over here at the table of contents. Now the table of contents, as you can see, is actually on the pasteboard. I have no particular reason for putting the table of contents on the page at the moment. If it's on the pasteboard, then it does mean that it's going to become a logical table of contents within the whole book through the user interface of the reader device. Okay, let's just have a look at this. If we go to Layout, Table of Contents, and there's just a few things to explain about this. Now you'll see that I'm simply using the recipe title and the section heading. These are both on the same level. Let's just click that to be more options. These are both on the same level. I'm only using section heading once, and that's the title of the introduction, and then each recipe has its own title, obviously, and that is also on the same level. You'll see down here in this bottom half, you'll see how it says include book documents with the name of the book document to make sure that we're actually polling through the all of the files to pick up those styles to generate the table of contents. Okay, we don't need to update that right now, so I'm just going to cancel that. But you will be aware that I've actually saved this as a particular table of contents. That's important because when we come to export the EPUB, we choose that table of contents. Okay, now to create the table of contents, I beg your pardon, to create the EPUB, we do this through the book panel. So I go into this little context menu here, export to EPUB, make sure I choose the reflowable. Let's go to my location where I want this to appear. Okay, here's my my title. I'm going to just give it a number since I've done this a few times now. Okay, so just go through this panel very quickly. EPUB 3 version. I've chosen the image. Let's just make sure that I'm picking that up from the right place, since we have a number of different projects going on at the same time here. This is the cover image, and the one that I want, of course, is the JPEG. Now, the table of contents is going to be a multi-level TOC style, and the TOC the styles that I'm using that is the one that I've saved, called eRecipes. We're basing this on the page layout, and we've also split the document based on the paragraph style export tags. Okay, now there's nothing else to report here for the moment, apart from perhaps just the fact that we're going to convert our footnotes into pop-up notes. Okay, let's go for OK and see what happens. This is now firing up iBooks so that we can have a look at the book. It's actually already opened in a page a bit further into the book, so I'm going to just go back one. Okay, so as you can see, here is my my title page. Let's just reduce the fonts down a little bit to the minimum. So as you can see, we've got the as exactly as we would hope. We've got the title page as it appeared on the page in InDesign. And then we have the introductory text with an image alongside it. This is a footnote that pops up. And then we have further on the various recipes. Now that's all I've got time for the moment. I'm going to come back to this a bit later on and talk a little bit about these blank pages to see what issues or how we can resolve those. Okay, thank you very much.